Okay, so yeah, up next is indeed Last Battle, also by Mikwuyama. So we will be hearing when he is ready to go live. So we will be heading over to that very soon. So stay tuned. Okay, I just got word that he is indeed live, so I'm gonna throw it back over to Mikwuyama. Good luck with that.
Okay, so you've got Aardvark, you've got Grom, Gross, and whatever that other name is.
Okay, so this is Last Battle. I have at least a couple of things to say before I start this game. And the first is that this is the one game that I submitted to the Big Bad Game-a-thon, and then I was like, wait a minute, I hate playing this game. Why did I submit this game? And, well, here it is! And then the other thing is that I have a boxed copy of this game, and I decided to read the back of the box, and it's pretty great. Oh, by the way, I hope you like lore, because this is the entire game's plot, including the ending right here, in all of these 1,000 words.
Have, like, 2 lines of dialogue every, like, 5 levels.
Exactly.
And, Grom, Gross, and Garrick, the 3 strongest and most evil warriors.
Yeah. Kind of like Legend Viper, Thormia, Diamo, and Steve. Anyway, let me read the back of this box. In the mood to punch, kick, and knock the daylights out of a bunch of wicked thugs? If the answer's yes, be prepared to receive your own fair share of hard knocks, because these goons are tough. And you'll need brains as well as brawn, since an intricate maze of passages leads you closer and closer to victory. Passages which you'll have to find. You're Arzak, pronounced Arzak, a renegade with a dream to free your people from a life of oppression. A master of Jet Kwon Do, the most elite practice of martial arts. You're about to experience hand-to-hand combat that never lets up. You're swift, you're lethal, you're good. But are you good enough to outsmart layers of labyrinths, battalions of beasts, and scores of setbacks? Are you good enough to survive the last battle?
Yes.
Well, I hope so.
I think we'll be fine.
I did offer this game. Yeah. It's worth noting that I'll either be about 10 minutes below estimate, or I will be right on estimate, depending on whether I die in the last chapter or not, because this is a good video game. And 3, 2, 1, go. So
everybody will probably... Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, so this is Last Battle. I'm taking the time to punch dudes because it's actually absolutely important that I get my power up. It's that very empty gray bar that's slowly ticking up as I punch enemies along the way. And what you might notice is that you're playing this big buff guy with super power punches, and it looks a lot like Fist of the North Star. Well, that's because this is a Fist of the North Star game. It's actually based on Part 2, aka the part that no one likes, because back when this game was released in 1988 in Japan, Part 2 was a new series. So it was like, I guess, the hot new thing. It's also worth noting that when they released this game in Europe and America, they stripped all references of Fist of the North Star, which is why instead of being a guy called Ken, you're the much more relatable Arzak. And
Arzak.
And
yeah, they really tried to make this not an anime in the West.
By the way, aside from changing the plot, like, this text right here is perfectly translated. It's really that simple, like, in the game.
I'm the only one who can save this.
And the only significant changes are that basically there's no blood. So, like, when you're hitting guys, they're not decapitated anymore. And I'm already having a great boss fight here because I forgot how to fight this guy, but it's all good as long as I don't get hit anymore. What? Wow, he's really doing a good job of zoning me out.
Those balls do an unbelievable amount of damage, by the way.
I might die here. Wow. It's been a long time since I've been at risk of dying here. I died there. Okay, that's a good start. I have never died in the first chapter before. I could start the timer, but I won't cheat, sure, even though I'm technically starting to run over again.
Don't call me a cheater.
I mean, I'll still be below estimate, so whatever. If I don't die again.
You could still get world record. We'll just say, you know, just subtract 2 minutes and 4 seconds every day.
Exactly. Well, I'm not in Comcast, so there you go.
Oh, well, good. I'm proud of you.
And to whoever said this is a good game, this is very much not a good game. Although I will admit, I screwed up that boss pretty hard. Although he also gave me very bad RNG. So about that boss that I just fought, the patterns which he throws the balls is not random, as in like up, down, or just straight at you. So I should have been more aware of that. But at the same time, the timing which he throws the balls at you is actually completely random.
So same pattern, but you'd never know when it's going to happen.
Exactly. Oh, and it's worth noting that whenever you punch the guys off screen, in the Japanese version, their heads would explode. And that actually makes this version slightly faster than the Japanese version, just because you don't have to go through the longer death animations.
I love it.
Okay, let's like have like a not terrible battle. Okay, there. I kicked the ball that time. So you can jump over all the balls except for the balls that go upward, and that was my mistake the last time, is that I didn't jump over that ball, and he was really pump faking. What is this RNG? Oh, and whenever he spits a fireball at you, he's completely invincible. This is unbelievably bad RNG.
Holy crap.
Like, you know, to use an old marathon phrase, that's never happened to me. Oh no, what is that? RNG! He threw a fireball at me. Okay, there, we beat him. So after every boss you defeat, you gain a bit of health back. Aside from that and dungeons, you don't regain your health in between stages.
Yeah, the boss is a big fan of Twitch, you know. He's just he knows all the people are there watching. He's like, I gotta put on a good show.
I got a good show for Big Bad Game-a-thon.
Like, I'm so ugly, maybe people will love me now.
Ow, ow. Just let me hit enemies, please. Okay. So I'm actually going to have to grind up some power here. Unless we get very good RNG, you're generally going to have to grind up a little bit before the boss. Okay, yeah. Good. And now we're powered up. So I have to power up because I do more damage, I take less damage, and without powering up, I can't jump over that fireball.
You just can't jump high enough.
So that attack has a ginormous hitbox, and he's completely invincible during it, and it can hit twice, and it does a ton of damage. Okay. Wow, this game is like not giving me favorable RNG, but whatever. Oh man, five minutes? I'm only about 2 minutes, 10 seconds behind where I usually am in the first chapter.
No, Mike, you restarted at 2 minutes and 4 seconds.
Oh, that's true, that's true.
It's okay, you're 6 seconds behind.
That's true. So, it's interesting to note that some of your power actually bleeds over into the next stage, as in you even after you get powered up, you can get a little more extra power, which makes the next stage a bit easier to power up. So if I don't die, fingers crossed, I won't have to grind up too much again.
My favorite enemies are coming up, I think, fairly soon, right?
I don't know who your favorite enemies are.
The touchy guys.
That's chapter 3, so...
Okay, whatever. They all blend together for me.
Yeah.
So, this boss that Mike fought is a reskin of a previous boss that he skipped.
Yeah, so I actually take a specific route in chapter 1 that skips the dungeon, because the dungeon stages, while they do make the game easier, they are really long. And chapter 1 is the only chapter with a skippable dungeon.
And the dungeons take a really long time, though.
Yes.
If you're playing casually, you probably want to go through the
Yes, you do want to go through if you're playing casually, because outside of the bosses, they're the only chance you have of restoring your health.
Nice. These pokey guys can damage boost you a little bit.
It's also worth noting that this game has a lot of hidden triggers on how to progress. And the game never tells you what they are.
Yeah.
Oh, please just let me in. There we go. That was a decent battle. So yeah, that's one of the easier bosses. And that's Falco from Part 2. I mean, Duke. This is not yet the time for you to die. And I'm not kidding when I say it's not that this game has a bad translation. The text is really just that dull and basic.
And it's dungeon time, so...
Yeah. Oh, dungeon fun times with RNG arrows and axes. And so you might be wondering, wow, you're moving so much faster. Why don't you do this in the stages? And the answer is you can't. No, I don't want to be up there. Down there. And
yes, so essentially you have to do a neutral jump, then push left or right.
Yes, if I'm just moving right like this, I don't go any faster. I have to jump in place and then move. What's also worth noting is that the axes, even after they hit an object and fall down, they have an active hitbox. So if you're pinned against a wall with an axe falling down, you can take a ton of damage.
There's somebody who remembers this level in chat. Oh.
Probably with very bad memories. Unfortunately, I can't actually look at chat much during this run because there's not really a lot of downtime in this game.
Yeah, the dungeons... I love seeing people get comboed by everything. By the way, the moving boulders are not too bad, but the stationary boulders will destroy your soul if you touch them.
That is 100% true. Because the way damage works in this game, as you can see, you bounce back a bit when you take damage, and if you're perfectly positioned in between two objects, like I just was, you will bounce back and forth between them. And if it's just stationary objects, then you'll just bounce back and forth between the stationary objects until you die. What is nice about the dungeons is that after you complete a dungeon, you always get your health back.
To tell the truth, the sprites of the rocks kind of look like clams.
What is kind of nice about this game is that this game has big sprites. That's about as far as I'm willing to go. I will say this game does accomplish one thing. Usually Genesis has really great music, you know, like in-house Sega stuff like Sonic and Ristar, Technosoft games, Konami games like Castlevania Bloodlines, or really terrible music like Captain Planet you just saw in pretty much like 90% of Western developed games.
Oh, yeah.
But this game manages the feat of having really unmemorable and just pretty average music.
Yeah, it's weird.
I mean, it sounds a bit dirgy, but it's not really, like, bad. It's just very unmemorable.
Yeah, honestly, you know, I've watched this game enough that I'm just imagining the music while watching it. So, like, I can remember it, but it's like... I was going to say, like, comfy jazz music, but no, that's not at all what it is. It's
this
like
game is never comfortable.
It's like the saddest elevator.
Alright, so Chapter 3. This chapter has the first of the problem fights that's going to come up. Hopefully this fight goes pretty smoothly, so I have as much health as possible for the boss, which may happen. Not getting the best of luck. Okay, that was still a good fight. Imagine Streams of Rage 2 at the last battle music. No thanks. So these are the frauderists, and if you don't know what a frauderist is, well, Grimora, who has a master's in psychology, named these guys, and a frauderist is someone who with a fetish who is excited by touching people or things. So, and as you can see, these guys are just hopping with joy, just waiting to touch you, so that's why they're called the frauderists.
And they're really difficult to hit until they get up close to you. They're just
Oh, and also, if you don't time your hit correctly, they will actually teleport and then attempt to touch you again. Like, that's how dedicated they are to touching you.
Oh, yeah. They really... They're just coming. They're gonna get you, Mike.
See, they're just teleporting!
The dumbest zombies.
Right. So this is one of the hidden triggers you have to go to complete this level. If you don't go there, the dungeon won't spawn, and this is the hardest, one of the harder bosses, because you're not powered up. And if you don't space yourself correctly, he will counterpunch you, and it does a ton of damage. You have to make sure he's moving, but not too late in the animation, like I was there. And you have to absolutely make sure you don't hit him when he has cape up, or else he'll clone himself and start beating you senseless.
What? Wow. Yeah, that sounds like a pretty quick way of getting game over.
Yep, okay.
By the way, everybody, you have 1 life in this game.
Yeah. It's worth noting you have 1 life, and to continue, it's actually a code, and you go all the way back to the beginning of a chapter. And what's even worse is that any, like, spillover power you had from the previous stage, that will reset, so it takes even longer than you think it does to continue. That's why my estimate is so high, because if I die on the final boss, which is very much a possibility, I will lose around 9 or 10 minutes. And if I die in the final boss again, then I'm just giving up, because this game sucks. That's a lot of axes. Alright, so these are the garage doors, and this is one way you can restore your health, by just punching these guys. Once you open a garage door, quote unquote, they're sealed off until you move up a floor, then back down to the previous floor, and that will reset it. I don't need to do that, since fortunately I have a pretty good amount of health here for the boss. So I won't have to use too many of these garage doors.
Good. They're also a good way of powering up if you're not already powered up.
Yes, definitely.
But you're still gaining part of the bar for the next chapter, so they're fine to do. Get a little life, get a little power.
Yeah. It's also worth noting you do actually gain power in boss fights. You just can't see it because the HUD is completely replaced by your health and the boss's health. No, axes. To quote Brosencha, I hate this game. No!
I say that about every game I play, Mike.
Yeah, but I don't say that about every game I play. And Dragon Dark makes a good point about music, is that I did omit Xerix, because Yes Per Kid soundtracks are also very good Genesis soundtracks. It's worth noting that you can't jump through the spears, because even as they're up, they still have active hitboxes, so I just have to walk through them.
Well, I mean, it's like real life. When the spears disappear, they're still there.
Yeah, I know, right? Object permanence.
Yeah, we're not dumb babies here.
Yeah, we're just dumb and play these games willingly. Okay, so this is the most dangerous enemy in the game, dust motes, because there are these pits, and the dust motes love knocking you into the pits.
Oh, jeez, all this...
Wow, that was actually really good RNG from the dust motes.
Wow.
Yeah. The game was being nice to me after Mr. Green Blob was not. Okay, so this guy, you mostly want to jump kick at, and you really don't want to get touched by the flames. His other attacks don't do that much damage, but the flames do a sizable chunk of your health. And you might be like, well, this is a one-on-one fighting game. You know, what are your defensive options? Your defensive options are hit the other guy until he dies, so he hits you less. There is no blocking.
Oh, for the bosses, by the way, you have to punch them to beat them.
Yes, that is a Fist of the North Star thing. And even though they, you know, localize this game for the West and stripped all the references, that is still something you have to do, and there's no reference to it in the manual whatsoever. So that would definitely confuse like first-time players of this game if they're not familiar with Fist of the North Star.
Wait, why are there guys like tunneling in the ground trying to attack you?
I don't know. Maybe they're earth fetishists to be like the frauders are touching fetishists. I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so when it comes to hidden triggers, this stage has a ton of hidden triggers. The first one will be to the right of here. If you don't talk to Garok, I mean totally not Kaio, you will not trigger the boss fight for Gross. I mean totally not Hyo.
You've got the Tower of Praying Mantis, man.
Yeah, so it's worth noting that normally the enemy limit in this game is 3 enemies, but certain enemies like this tower right here seem to go over that limit. I guess they use a different layer in the graphics.
Okay.
It's just an interesting note.
Yeah, that's odd. It's Garok. I haven't seen Gross yet.
Gross is going to come up in a couple of stages.
Oh, good.
And I'm pretty sure you've seen Gross. He's trouble point number 2. It's a very... Well, all the bosses in this game are very RNG heavy, but... Okay, good. I'm not getting, like, sandwiched by these guys. Actually, yeah, this is actually really good.
The Praying Mantis dudes attacks, they're just like, touch.
Yeah, they're so dainty with their attacks.
You're gonna have a dainty death there.
Although it was good that I kept them on the screen because it meant no more would spawn, and those guys actually do a lot of damage. There is actually a weird bug with those guys where sometimes if you try to jump kick them, instead one of their sprites will bug out, and that doesn't mean you killed him, it just means he disappeared and he'll still be able to hit you.
Okay.
And that's really bad. Okay, so this is Gross. This fight is basically RNG whether I win or not.
Come on, fingers crossed.
If a boss is walking, that means they can't attack you. And you can sometimes anti-air if you're correctly positioned with your punches against this. Oh no, that's the attack you totally don't want to get hit by. Because as you can see, it does a ton of damage, it's super fast, and it's bad news bears. Okay, but we beat him. That's what matters.
Oh, good. Good. Bad news bears.
I don't know. My mind goes
I think
places.
when you killed him, he said memory is returning.
Yeah. So, spoilers for a 30-plus-year-old show is that Hyo is actually Kenshiro's brother in Fist of the North Star 2, like his true blood brother. And Hyo forgot this because Kaio put him under some sort of manipulation or spell, and Ken has to just beats him senseless to make him wake up or something. I don't remember because Fist of the North Star 2 sucks.
Wow, so opinionated, Mike.
I am opinionated, but what else are you expecting from me?
I know, right?
Coming from Brosencha, a certainly most objective personality in this speedrunning world.
Oh, I do not have any wrong opinions, Mike.
Exactly. Same here. Just like how,
good.
Just like how
I'm glad we're still alive.
Exactly. Just like how the Demon Rush is one of the greatest RPGs created.
I mean, so they say.
Alright, so what crouching does is that it cancels the animation on your attacks, and while the punch hitbox is very good, along with this jump kick hitbox, it just lets you grind out those enemies a little bit faster if you cancel your punch animation.
The clam rocks just rolling around. Like, they're like sideways clams, okay? You take a clam, prop it on its side, and there you go, these rocks. I live in Utah. We don't know what clams look like here.
Utah fact number 43. Utahs don't know what clams look like.
It's true. It's a Utah fact.
Exactly. I mean, we have someone in Utah on this call, so obviously it's a fact. I mean, like you said, your opinions are never wrong, so fact.
Fact. So I love the falling daggers because even when they hit the ground, they still have a hitbox. Yep. But you can kick them.
Yeah, you can hit them, but they are pretty persistent.
You fell through the floor?
Yeah. Well, that's just a giant pit there, and then I went through the little divider. I don't think that's exactly the intended route, but it's definitely the shortest one to get to this point.
Okay.
Do I go left or do I go right here?
Don't forget object permanence with those spears, Mike.
Oh no. Axes, help! We'll just take a leisurely stroll through the axes, since there's only about 10 of them hanging above my head. Yeah, as you can see, there's only about 1 million RNG factors in this game. Sure, it's only the bosses and the obstacles, but there's so many of them.
Yeah, and you can definitely get comboed to death, so
yeah. It's not common, but it can happen. Okay, good. I'm at the end of this dungeon. I probably didn't have to grind up as much health as I did in this dungeon, but I did. Oh, sorry. Bit of content warning. There's a bit of nudity. Oh no! It's not the nudity of yesterday, but you know, bit of lewdness.
It's like Greek art. Come on.
Yeah, it's not even lewd, really. But I'm kind of surprised that got through in the Western release.
Yeah,
but this
actually. But this not Nintendo.
Yeah, and this is before they had active, like, you know, industry ratings and everything, because that didn't happen until 1993. This game's...
I think Nintendo would have made Arzak put a shirt on.
Yeah. Let's see. So now I'm trying to go to that top island bit there. Like, all of these stages I'm going to are absolutely necessary. Like, Chapter 4 is the worst when it comes to invisible triggers. And the final boss is problem battle number 3. And he has an attack that is incredibly fast, takes off a good chunk of your health, and there's very little chance you can dodge it. I've dodged it once out of, like, 20 times. Or so. Yeah, so now he turns red, even though he pretty much has the exact same attacks. And the way, you can't dodge that, but if you just stand in place, you won't get hurt. Oh, that was some nice undodgeable. Oh, that's the attack! This battle's going really poorly so far.
Wait, so it's like Undertale. There are attacks where you just don't move.
Wow. Oh no! I shouldn't have been so shocked that he didn't hit me, because then he just hit me. Yeah, like, there's no counterplay to that attack is the problem. It's just like, get lucky. Okay. Oh, that's so bad! You only need one more hit. Okay. We are pretty much going to be on estimate or overestimate, because we have to repeat Chapter 4 all over again.
Oh no! That's okay, that's what the estimate was for.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's just RNG. Like, there's no skill involved fighting that boss. You just pray he doesn't use that dash move, 4 or 5 times like he did. Because if you use that,
tell before he does.
Yeah, there's no tell. It's super fast, and the only way you can dodge it is if you're almost out of range already, and he doesn't necessarily. And sometimes he'll use it when you're too close to even dodge it. Like the counterplay to it is usually just block with your face.
Block with your face.
No.
Oh boy.
And this is even
Considering
worse.
that you don't have any, for a beat 'em up with like no defense moves, it's kind of impressive.
Yeah. So I'm really gonna have to grind up like crazy here, because one thing that happens when you die is that you're taken all the way back to your previous PowerPoint. And
your PowerPoint presentation?
No, I mean the point in power, where you powered up in the last stage, and you don't have any of the spillover that you had because you used the continue code. So you just have to grind up a lot. That's why if I die again, I am just mercy killing this. However, there is one silver lining if you die. Because the speedrun route deprives itself of a lot of life extensions and defense power-ups, you actually have more health and more defense than you do in a speedrun now. So I should be able to beat the final boss, famous last words.
Good, do it. That's meant to be worth
I could use this as my pitch for this game if I wanted to pitch it to a GDQ, which I absolutely don't, which is, if I die, then you'll have 10 minutes to read donations, which I'm going to give people a pro tip. I don't give people too many tips about submitting games, but if your biggest part of the pitch is there is a lot of time to read donations, then maybe you should reconsider submitting that game. Just throwing that out there, because usually a lot of time to read donations means a lot of dead time.
Oh, that's good to know, Mike.
Exactly.
Everybody go, don't submit last battle.
Exactly. There's a reason why I didn't submit this. Although there is a lot of time to read donations.
Yeah, we could have gotten through like 1,000.
I know, right? I mean, look at how slowly he walks.
Just moseying.
Yeah. Punching away hoppers who are trying to touch him.
Yeah, Lincoln's upset that you gave that pro tip after submissions closed.
Well, I never said I was nice. And there's always next time.
Yeah, next year, Lincoln's.
Oops, I'm game time for donations. What? What was that combo right there?
It was a gross combo.
Yeah, so I got hit by the black stuff, and because I jumped into him, I actually took damage. Okay, I know he's going to do the rushing punch at some point. But the thing is, like, you just have to guess when it is. Yep. So he hit me, but he didn't hit me as badly, so... Oh, just let me hit you. Okay, there we go.
This game is so good.
It's bad. I hate it. Yeah, but just as a general note, like, most Fist of the North Star games are not very good. I hear the demo of the Fist of the North Star Yakuza game is very good. The Ken's Rage, or the Hokuto Muso, which is basically Dynasty Warriors, but using Fist of the North Star characters. It's not the greatest game, but it's fun. Black Belt for the Sega Master System is good, and depending on who you ask, but I don't know if you could consider it a good game, but the Arc System Works fighting game from 2005 is very nutty and kind of captures the spirit of the show, even though it's super broken. But other than those 4 games, like, Fist of the North Star has a ton of bad games. You can be like, wow, 4 games, that's pretty good. Well, just realize there are like 7 games for this when you consider the Famicom and Super Famicom alone. And they're all bad.
Oh, that's amazing.
Oh, I hear there's a PS1 game that's pretty decent too. Yeah, the punching sequence is good. Maybe I'll do the if I manage to defeat the final boss, which should happen because I have full health. Yeah, so one thing about the speedrun is that you ignore pretty much all the optional paths, and the optional paths are usually the paths that have the defensive power-up or life extensions. And if you're wondering, why don't I go there to make it more marathon safe? Well, there's no guarantee that I would even be able to defeat the final boss with those, because the final boss is less dependent on your life extensions and more dependent on, did you get good enough RNG? And I was close, but the final boss decided to do one last 100 hand slap, and he was like, nope.
Yeah. So, all you game devs out there, be sure to do a little blind play testing against your final boss. You know, allow people who have never played the game to touch it, you know.
Yeah. Or, you know, maybe add a block button or something. I don't know. Like, that might help.
That's also an option.
But yeah, you should thank the final boss, because he's going to put us on estimate, so we won't get too far ahead of schedule or anything. So thanks for being such a swell stand-up guy, Garrock.
Arzak.
I'm gonna go left here.
Someone here is probably watching thinking like, I'm gonna have a son and name him Arzak.
Yeah. Oh no. Alright, so this is the worst spot to get hit by the axes, because as I said before, if an axe, even after an axe hits you or touches an object, it still has an active hitbox, so it'll just repeatedly hit you while it's falling down.
The arrows really don't seem that worrying, though.
No.
I mean, they do have hearts on the ends.
Yeah, they do a little bit of damage, but they're not as numerous as the axes. They're more annoying, kind of like these dust motes. Okay, artistic license again.
Oh yeah, we forgot. Shield your eyes, everybody. Or not.
Yeah.
I don't care. I'm not your dad. And I'm not gonna adopt you, Twitch.
Okay. Alright, we meet up with Rob, as in totally not Shachi. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna be overestimate, actually. I just looked at the time.
I'll forgive you, Mike.
Okay, thanks. I mean...
No. Remember, because...
I guess this is making up for the avoid the noise.
2 minutes and 4 seconds.
Oh, that's true.
You got that 2 minutes and 4 seconds.
That was really unusual to die there, because it's been a long time since I've died there. Okay, let's fight.
You could always just reset your timer right now. That way you'll be under
his first attack is just to immediately slap me.
Wow. What a jerk.
What is this? Stop doing that. Oh, jeez. Like, I really don't know how to fight this guy. What? I might die again. And if I die again, I'm just... Yeah, this RNG is atrocious. Oh, that almost killed me. Except now he's just gonna kill me with punches and kicks. Okay. No! Okay, I'm just giving up.
So close, Mike.
I thought I was in range to punch him, but I was not. So no. Nope. Just get punched in the face. That was really unreal bad RNG, though.
Wow.
Well, here you get the entire story here. I hope you can read it about 100 words per second.
Oh yeah. Well, everybody, welcome to Bad Games. Sometimes you just have no idea if they're gonna finish. It's all good, Mike. This happens.
Yeah, so that's okay. I'm not too beat up about this. It means I don't have to play this game anymore, so I'm happy with this. And I had a pretty good Captain Planet and Noid run, so that's what really matters.
Oh man, those 2 runs were fantastic.
Yeah. They were fun, unlike this game. Anyway, thanks everyone for watching, and there'll be plenty more awesome or awfulsome bad games coming up.
Oh yeah.